The text from my brother Tyler came through at 6:47 p.m. on a Friday, just as I was reviewing quarterly reports in my home office. The message made me pause mid-sentence in my analysis of overseas manufacturing costs. Hey sis. Borrowed your cheap necklace from your jewelry box for my date tonight. Thanks. Smiling face with smiling eyes. I stared at the message, trying to process what I'd just read. Tyler was in my apartment, going through my jewelry box, taking my cheap necklace. The problem was I didn't own any cheap necklaces. My phone buzzed again with another text. Don't worry, I'll take good care of it. Just wanted something nice for Emma. You know how she is about jewelry. I knew exactly how Emma was about jewelry. Tyler's girlfriend of 6 months had expensive taste and a habit of borrowing things that somehow never made it back to their original owners. She'd already kept 2 of my scarves and a designer handbag that she claimed looked better on her anyway. But this time was different. I walked quickly to my bedroom and opened my jewelry box. Most of my everyday pieces were there. The pearl earrings from Mom, the vintage bracelet from Grandma, the simple gold chain I wore to work. But the blue velvet compartment in the back corner was empty. The compartment where I kept the salon sapphire necklace. My heart started racing as I grabbed my laptop and pulled up the Sterling Luxury Inventory database. I scrolled through the active pieces until I found item number 4429. Salon sapphire and diamond necklace, 18 kt white gold setting, 15.7 carat center stone surrounded by 8.3 carats of diamond accents. Estimated retail value, $2.2 million. Tyler had just stolen a $2.2 million necklace to impress his girlfriend. And he thought it was cheap costume jewelry. I picked up my phone and typed back, "Have fun." Then I immediately called James Morrison, head of security for Sterling Luxury Jewelers. "James, it's Victoria. I need to report a theft." "Miss Sterling? What's been stolen?" "Inventory item number 4429. The salon sapphire piece." I could hear James typing on his computer. "The piece you took home for the insurance appraisal photos? That's the one. It's been stolen from my residence." "Jesus. Do you know who took it?" I looked at Tyler's cheerful text message, complete with the smiling emoji. "Yes. My brother." "Your brother? Miss Sterling, are you sure you want to report this as theft? Family disputes can get complicated legally." "James, that necklace is worth more than most people's houses. It's not a family dispute, it's grand theft." "Understood. Where is your brother now?" I forwarded Tyler's earlier text from that afternoon, where he'd mentioned taking Emma to Chez Laurent for their 6-month anniversary dinner. Chez Laurent on 5th Street. Probably just getting seated for their 7 o'clock reservation. "I'll contact LAPD immediately and have units dispatched to the restaurant. Do you want to press full charges?" I thought about Tyler's text. The casual way he'd taken something from my apartment without asking. The assumption that my jewelry was just cheap costume pieces he could borrow for his dates. "Full charges, James. Treat this exactly like you would any other theft of a $2 million item." "Copy that. I'll call you with updates." I hung up and sat in my home office, surrounded by the quarterly reports and business documents that Tyler had never bothered to ask about. He thought I worked at a jewelry store. He'd never asked which jewelry store or in what capacity, or how I could afford my downtown loft on a retail salary. If he had asked, he might have learned that Sterling Luxury Jewelers was my company. That I'd inherited it from our grandfather when I was 25 and had spent the last 8 years building it into one of the most prestigious jewelry houses on the West Coast. He might have learned that the cheap necklace he'd just stolen was part of our exclusive collection, pieces so valuable they required armed transport and specialized insurance. He might have learned that taking inventory without authorization wasn't borrowing, it was felony theft. My phone rang 20 minutes later. "Miss Sterling, this is Detective Martinez with LAPD. We have your brother in custody." That was fast. Well, it's not every day we get a call about a stolen $2 million necklace. We took this one seriously. "What's his condition?" "Confused mostly. He keeps insisting the necklace is fake and that his sister works at a jewelry store. He seems genuinely shocked that we arrested him." I imagine he would be. "Miss Sterling, I have to ask, did you give your brother permission to take this necklace?" "No. I was at work when he entered my apartment and took it from my jewelry box. I only learned about it when he texted to tell me what he'd done." "And he doesn't know the value of the piece?" "Detective, My brother thinks I'm a retail employee living paycheck to paycheck. He has no idea what I actually do for a living. Which is, I own Sterling Luxury Jewelers. The necklace he took is part of our private collection. There was a pause. You own the company? I inherited it from my grandfather and have been CEO for 8 years. And your brother doesn't know this? My brother has never asked what I do for work, where my money comes from, or how I can afford my lifestyle. He's made assumptions and I've never corrected them. Why not? I looked around my home office at the awards on the walls from industry organizations, the photos of me with celebrity clients, the framed Forbes article about young female entrepreneurs in luxury goods. Because I wanted to see if my family would love me for who I am, not what I own. And the test didn't go well? My brother just stole from me because he assumed I had nothing worth protecting. Detective Martinez was quiet for a moment. Miss Sterling, your brother is asking to speak with you. He's pretty shaken up. I imagine he is. Will you come down to the station? I checked my watch. It was almost 9 o'clock. Tyler and Emma's romantic anniversary dinner had been thoroughly ruined. I'll be there in 30 minutes. The precinct was busy for a Friday night, filled with the usual mix of petty criminals and unfortunate tourists. I found Detective Martinez at his desk, a tired-looking man in his 40s who handled white-collar crime. Miss Sterling? Detective Martinez. He stood and shook my hand. Your brother is in interview room 2. He's been asking for you for the past hour. How's his girlfriend handling this? She's upset. Keeps demanding to know why we're treating this so seriously. Apparently she told other diners at the restaurant that the necklace was fake. Of course she did. The restaurant staff confirmed your brother was wearing a very expensive-looking sapphire necklace. Several patrons took photos when the arrest happened. This is going to make the news. I hadn't considered that angle. Local news. Probably. $2 million necklace theft at upscale restaurant is exactly the kind of story they love. Detective Martinez led me to a small room where Tyler sat at a metal table, still wearing his dress shirt and tie from the interrupted date. His hands were cuffed to the table and he looked smaller somehow, like a kid who'd been caught stealing candy. Victoria. He looked up when I entered. Thank God. Can you please tell them this is all a misunderstanding? I sat down across from him. What kind of misunderstanding, Tyler? The necklace. They're saying it's worth $2 million, which is insane. It's just some costume jewelry you keep in your bedroom. Why did you think it was costume jewelry? Because you work at a jewelry store, Vic. You're not exactly making big money, right? I figured it was just some knockoff piece you got from work. Tyler, what jewelry store do I work at? He looked confused by the question. I don't know. Some local place downtown. You never talk about work. Have you ever asked? Asked what? Asked where I work. Asked what I do. Asked how I can afford a $2,000 a month loft in the Arts District on retail wages. Tyler blinked. I figured you had roommates or something. I don't have roommates. Then how do you afford it? I pulled out my phone and showed him the Sterling Luxury website. The homepage featured a photo of me next to the company logo, with the text, Victoria Sterling, CEO and Creative Director. Tyler stared at the screen. That's you. That's me. You're the CEO? I'm the owner. Grandpa left me the company when he passed away 8 years ago. Tyler's face went white. Grandpa's jewelry store? Sterling Luxury isn't a store, Tyler. It's a luxury jewelry house. We create custom pieces for celebrities, wealthy collectors, and high-end retailers. That necklace you borrowed? It was made for a private client who's considering a purchase. $2 million? $2.2 million, actually. Tyler put his head in his hands. Oh my God. Victoria, I had no idea. Obviously. I thought you were you live so normally. You drive that old Prius, you wear simple clothes, you never seem to have a lot of money. I have plenty of money, Tyler. I just don't feel the need to prove it to everyone around me. Detective Martinez knocked and entered the room. Miss Sterling, I need to discuss the charges with you. What are the options? Given the value of the item, this is felony grand theft. Your brother could be looking at up to 3 years in prison. Tyler's head snapped up. 3 years. For borrowing a necklace. For stealing a $2 million necklace, Detective Martinez corrected. The courts don't care about your family relationship or your intentions. They care about the value of what you took. But I was going to give it back. When? I asked. After the date. Tomorrow morning. Tyler, you took a $2 million necklace to a public restaurant to impress your girlfriend. What if you'd lost it? What if someone had mugged you? What if Emma had decided she wanted to keep it? Tyler's face crumbled as the reality of his situation sank in. Miss Sterling, Detective Martinez continued, as the victim, you have the right to request that we drop the charges. But given the value and the circumstances, the DA might choose to prosecute anyway. I looked at my brother sitting in a police interview room in his date clothes, finally understanding the magnitude of what he'd done. I need to think about it. Victoria, please, Tyler said desperately. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Tyler, in 8 years, you've never once asked me about my work, my finances, or my life. You've made assumptions about everything. I know. I was wrong. You broke into my apartment. I have a key. A key for emergencies. And you took something without permission. I thought it was just costume jewelry. You thought it was okay to take my things without asking because you assumed they weren't valuable enough to matter. Tyler was quiet. What does that say about how much you respect me, Tyler? I don't know. Detective Martinez stepped outside to give us privacy, and I studied my brother's face. For the first time in years, he was really looking at me, not through me or past me, but actually seeing me. Tyler, what do you think I do all day? I guess I thought you worked behind a counter, selling jewelry to customers. I run a company with 47 employees. I design custom pieces for A-list celebrities. I manage relationships with suppliers in 12 countries. I oversee a production facility, a showroom, and 3 retail partnerships. I didn't know. Because you didn't ask. You've been so focused on your own life, your job, your girlfriend, your social life, that you never wondered what your sister was doing. You're right. Tyler, that necklace you took represents 6 months of work. The design, the sourcing, the craftsmanship. It's not just jewelry, it's art. I understand now. Do you? Because this isn't just about the necklace. It's about the fact that you thought so little of my possessions that you could just take them. Tyler was crying now. Victoria, I'm so sorry. I know I screwed up. I know I disrespected you. But please don't let them send me to prison. I'll do anything to make this right. I looked at my little brother, who was only 3 years younger but had somehow managed to stay completely oblivious to my success for nearly a decade. What would make this right, Tyler? I don't know. Pay you back. With what money? You work in pharmaceutical sales and you just spent $300 on dinner to impress a girl. I'll get a loan. A $2 million loan? Tyler, you don't understand the scale of what you've done. Then tell me what to do. I thought about the years of family dinners where Tyler had dominated conversations with stories about his work while barely acknowledging mine. The times he'd borrowed money for various emergencies without ever wondering how I could afford to lend it. The complete lack of curiosity about my life. I want you to work for me. What? 6 months. Entry level. You'll learn every aspect of the jewelry business from the ground up. You'll understand what goes into creating pieces like the one you stole. Victoria, I don't know anything about jewelry. You'll learn. And Tyler? You'll be paid minimum wage. His eyes widened. Minimum wage? You took a $2 million necklace because you assumed it was worthless. You need to understand the value of things, including work. But my job at Pfizer. We'll have to wait. This is the deal, Tyler. 6 months working for me, learning to respect what I do, or 3 years in prison for grand theft. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. What about Emma? What about her? She's going to be so embarrassed. Everyone at the restaurant saw me get arrested. Tyler, your girlfriend watched you steal jewelry from your sister to impress her. If she's embarrassed, maybe she should reevaluate her priorities. She didn't know I was stealing it. She knew you were taking things from my apartment without asking. She's kept my scarves and purse for months. Tyler looked genuinely surprised. She kept your stuff? You didn't know? I thought you'd given those to her. When did I give Emma permission to keep my belongings? The realization was dawning on Tyler's face. She said you told her she could have them. I never told her any such thing. So she's been stealing from you too? Apparently. Tyler put his head back in his hands. God, Victoria. What kind of people have we become? I don't know, Tyler. You tell me. Detective Martinez returned with paperwork. Miss Sterling, have you decided about the charges? I looked at my brother one more time. I want to drop the felony charges on the condition that my brother enters into a restitution program. What kind of restitution? 6 months of community service, working for my company to understand the value of what he took. That's unusual, but if both parties agree. Tyler, do you agree to these terms? Yes. Absolutely yes. And you'll return Emma's borrowed items to me? Tonight. As soon as I get out of here. Detective Martinez started preparing the paperwork. Mr. Sterling, you're lucky to have a sister who's willing to work with you on this. I know. 2 hours later we left the police station together. Tyler had been officially released into my custody, and the necklace was safely returned to Sterling Luxury's secure storage. Victoria, Tyler said as we walked to my car, I need to ask you something. What? Are you really worth millions of dollars? I pulled up my phone and showed him the most recent Forbes article about Sterling Luxury's growth. The company's valued at about $60 million. My personal net worth is around $40 million. $40 million. Give or take. Tyler stopped walking. And I've been borrowing $20 from you for gas money. You have. Sick. I'm such an idiot. You're not an idiot, Tyler. You're just self-absorbed. There's a difference. We drove in silence for several minutes before Tyler spoke again. What's my job going to be? You'll start in the workshop learning how jewelry is made. Then you'll move to inventory management, client services, and eventually sales. By the end of 6 months, you'll understand every aspect of the business. And then you'll have learned to respect what other people do for a living. Including your sister. Victoria. Yeah. I'm really sorry. Not just for taking the necklace, but for never seeing you. For never asking about your life or caring about your success. I know. How do you know? Because you're here, Tyler. You could have called Dad to bail you out or hired a lawyer or blamed me for overreacting. Instead, you're accepting responsibility and trying to make it right. I want to make it right. Good. Because Monday morning at 7 a.m., you start learning what it really takes to create something worth $2 million. Tyler nodded. I'll be there. And for the first time in years, I believed my little brother was finally ready to grow up. 6 months later, Tyler had become one of my most dedicated employees. He understood the craftsmanship, the artistry, and the business acumen required to succeed in luxury goods. More importantly, he understood his sister. The necklace that started it all sold to a private collector for $2.4 million. Tyler helped coordinate the sale.